Hello, people. Come, choose to do this at this time because I don't want to whip a crowd over here for what I go say. I don't want to whip a crowd over here. That's why I do it now. Yes, I do a sneaky live. I don't want to whip a crowd over here. Yes, cause I come for rub V. Yes, mega rubber. Hey Charmaine. Hey Drea 1969. Hey Juliet. Hey Deborah. Hey Andreen. Yes, a time for me for done V now. It's about time. It's about to go down. You understand? So uno tag V. Cause I want V in the comments when me I done her, you know. Me not do it behind her back, you know. Uno tag her. Call Lady V, oh. Call Lady V. Me want Lady V at the front of the class. Cause as she me come for rub. Me not come for rub nobody else, me come for rub V. You understand? Bring Lady V to the front of the class. Because I have had enough. I would like somebody to tag her and bring her come to HDK class. Big up yourself, Charmaine. Big up yourself, Christine. Big up yourself, Hazel. Good afternoon, Norma. What's up, sis? What's up? Uno tag V. Cause it's time now for it to happen. You know from when me I resist this? Yes. Me I resist it. You understand? But now it have to go down. Hello, hello, hello. Una not tag Lady V. Una don't know how to tag people. Type our show with Lady V in the comments. Type Lady V in the comments and call her and tag her. I want her here personally and bodily. I don't want anybody else in the class but Lady V. Bring Lady V. Come. Because today is our day when me I go rub her. Yeah? Today is our day when me I go rub her. Long time. It overdue. Just got home from work. It's hotter than Satan out behind outside. May I tell you, man, right now, me have the fan for me. I'm sure you guys can hear it in the background. I'm sure you can hear it in the background. Lady V, where you there? Come here, man. Come here, man. Come here. Come right here, so. Right here, sir, is where I'd like you to come and sit in the class. I have a seat specially designated for you. It have reserved. Nobody else named upon it. Just Lady V named upon it. So nobody not supposed to sit down in your seat. All right. All right, yes. All I know we come for mix up. You can go on now. All I wanna we come for mix up, all I wanna we come for bangaranga, all I wanna we come for wara, all I wanna we come for CHDK done Lady V. You can leave now. Because I'm not going to do it. No. I am not going to do it. Right? Me not out here to fight nobody battles. However, I am gonna say a few things. So if Lady V did a jump, relax. Me not fool out here now. Me not idiots. Nor she idiots. Nobody can pull me out like shoes laces, my love. No. Nobody can wind me up like no dolly and spin me like gig. And that's how it work. Me know the tricks of the trades, but they're about too long. Too long. For them, look at something they work for me. Understand? Yes. Not a worry now going over here. So if you come for mix up, you take up the accoutrements, you move on yourself because no mix up over here. Me not done not a soul. Me not done Lady V for nothing, you know. But I am gonna say a few things. Because Lady V, boy, they want me done, you know. Vio! Walk one leggy because yourself. Don't want me done, you know, Lady V, but I don't know. But I'm gonna talk to you. I'm going to talk to you about the live that you did with regards to the video that I shared. All right. Shall we laugh, yeah? No, cause you don't be a cuss her for. But say, you wanted a life in a leggy. And they must say, oh, HD for come out. I could deal with her. Because she over here, so I do this, and she over here, so I do that, and she forget rub. And then why me rub Lady V so bad? No, it's never gonna happen. No. I have passed that stage in my life on social media where I'm going to come out here and cuss and go on with people over their opinions or the things they express on their platform. So yes, the 8 will run gun. Why? A mix up on a come fan, it not gonna happen. We're gonna have a substantial discussion where we look into the things that Lady V said. I made some notes. And we are going to go down in it. You understand? So when I say tag Lady V, I hope Lady V not get nervous from the caption. Can't me sure she wonder, Lord Jesus, I will do. Um, so for those of you who are not aware, on my Facebook page, I had shared a video. And that video was posted by a prophet. His name is Shane. I think it's Shane Bowen. And he basically was looking for help from the Jamaican people to get his case the public attention that it needs because his little girl was savagely attacked in a fight at school. And it was recorded, and he placed the recording on his page. It has since gone viral. So I'm sure some of you have seen the video by now. If you have not, you can go to Lady V's page or my page on Facebook, and you can get up to date with the discussion. So Lady V saw the post that I shared on my page, and it inspired a conversation around parenting, dealing with children's conflict, warning parents about the consequences that can happen, etc. And in true Lady V style, because I have gotten to understand this lady, I watch her and I've come to understand her. Lady V says things, I think, to rake up social media when she's ready. And then she goes back in and laughs. Yes. I see it in a Lady V. I see it. I see the tactic. I see. That's why me not bother with you more time. Because me do say, you say some things out here for rake up the people on the internet. And then you go back in and laugh. All right. But anyway, I was scrolling through social media streets, as you do today, and I came across Leggy's live. Right, we're graduates for a reason. You're damn right. I came across Leggy's live. You guys know I always say I listen to Leggy. Right, anytime I book up on a live, me listen him. So I was listening to Leggy's live, and it was about V. I say, what V do know? Which answers V wake up this time? I'm sit and I'm listen to it. I'm listen to it. He was streaming bits of her life, having a discussion about it. And Leggy was not disrespectful. He was not done in her. He was analyzing it sensibly, rationally, line by line. So it was something that I could participate in. I could understand. I could listen. I could follow. So may I listen and so, and I took some points away from Leggy, but I also went and listened to the live for myself because I always like to go to the source. I never go just based on one person's interpretation. I go and I listen to the full context. And yes, a lot of the things that Leggy said hit the nail on the head. But I'm going to tackle a few things. So Lady V was very passionate about the subject. You could see that there was a lot of emotion involved in how she was breaking down what happened with them kids. The video showed, and I can't show the video on my channel because unlike, Leggy, he privates his stuff. I keep my stuff up. So I'm not gonna jeopardize my channel by showing you because it would be considered against community standards. But it was quite violent, right? So she showed the fight, and it had a little girl. As I said, it was the prophet's daughter. And that little girl was clearly in some back and forth with some other girls. It was first a verbal altercation, and then it escalated into a physical. A heavy-set girl, also a child, grabbed her by, drape her up basically and pull her away, pick up her bag and pulled her away from the crowd. And then now, a girl came out of the blue from probably from the masses, me no know. Because it wasn't the original one that she was arguing with. It was a different girl running pan her and start to put on some punch, step up in her head. Listen, it was terrible. By the time that girl was finished with her, her uniform was torn with almost all of herself exposed. Luckily, she had a little tights and vest underneath her uniform. Anyway, um, V was quite upset about it, and that's understandable. I was upset about it, which is why I posted it. And I was aware that in that situation, in that situation, in that scenario, which took place off school grounds, not on school grounds, that's a criminal matter. So I tagged JCF and I tagged Andrew Holness and I said, "Oh, no need to investigate this." Anyway, V was going on about the children and so on. But V, I am gonna say something to you. You referred to me as your sister, and I'm assuming you mean internet sister, which I can understand. We are colleagues in the business. Therefore, with the same degree of respect given, I'm going to return it. Because some of the things that you said were, I think, more on the emotional side than it was on the logical side and the advisory side, because there are multiple sides to you in a V. Me know said there is bad girl V. Me know said there is mommy V. Me know said there is the counselor V and the advisor. And me know said there is the party girl V. Me know there's several sides to you. I've been watching you for years. You understand? Me also know that there is the warmonger V. Yeah, and the warmonger V was, I think, more prominent in the beginning of your discourse than towards the end. And the reason why is because it struck a chord with you. So there are some things that you said that I want to ask you about. Big up yourself, Foreign Woman TV. I see you. I couldn't watch the video. Okay. You made it clear that if that was your child, you would have retaliated. Like if one of your children was the abuser, you would have disciplined by cutting them ass and alive, make everybody see them get them own beating. Ah boy. Now this is how I have to rationalize this discussion that I'm having with you, V, in that I am going to separate your emotional side from your professional side. Because this was pure emotion, because your professional side could never have agreed with this. You understand? You allowed your emotions to run ahead of your professional side. Because you, as the counselor, you, as the psychologist, the trained psychologist, the academic, would never endorse putting a child's punishment, corporal punishment, on public display on the internet. Me know you wouldn't do that. But then you say it as though you would. And I genuinely don't believe you would do it. You understand? Let's move on. In addition, you went on to then describe the children who were involved in the fight, the ones that were on the videos, the girls that were doing, that were the girl that was doing the beating, the ones that were around cheering, swearing, pulling up them phone, filming, etc. You describe them as big, dirty waste boys, waste matter children. I'm using your words exactly because I typed it. Big, dirty waste boys, waste matter children. And then you went on to describe the fact that none of them ran in to say, let's stop this. Everybody has up cameras cursing, plate clot, and etc., etc. Now, of course, that kind of behavior is disgusting because they are basically indulging in the fight. Even if they are not putting hands on the girl, they're encouraging it by cheering, by swearing, by basically, making all the noise, pulling out the camera rather than going off to call an adult, going off to get help, even if they don't want to get involved. No, I'm going to say this. You see, the kids that are nowadays in comparison to the kids when we are grow up are two different set of kids. You see, if any of them boy they go get involved in that fight, try no say that boy I go get lick. The girl them I go fight with the boy. It's gonna end up that little boy is gonna get caught up in the fight. You understand? And if that does happen, and the boy then decides that he's going to retaliate, what you think is gonna happen? That boy is gonna get chastised. Look how him beat up the girl. If that boy goes in, it's not going to be a case of pull apart and everybody is happy and dandy and just go their separate ways. They are going to direct their attention and their aggression towards the boy, and the boy is going to retaliate, and it's going to escalate to an even worse situation. Nowadays, it is so difficult to get involved in situations like this because you can end up lose your life. You understand? Or take somebody's life. So, one, I can understand why they probably didn't get involved. I do not justify them taking cameras out. This is now the society that we live in. Nowadays, when somebody sees somebody hurt, they would rather take out the phone, right, than actually go and help them. That's a complete numbing of people's emotions, right? Okay, and social media caused that. But to call them waste matter children, big dirty waste boys, me not agree with that. That was not okay. Because all of them are kids. And I know that the video looked terrible. It looked awful. And what happened to that little girl was dreadful. Right? It wasn't nice. But me I tell you straight, say missy worse fight than that in a school. Missy worse fight than that in a school. And at least that was one-on-one and not gang-on-one. Now, you were talking about the girl that pulled her away. Via wanted to go back and watch the video. Go back and watch the video again. You see that big girl that was pulling that child away and take up her bag? She was not trying to hurt the victim. She was trying to take her away from the kerfuffle, from the noise, from the potential war. She that tried to draw her away from them. It's like she had said, you know, sister, them a go gang you or them a go beat you, my girl. Come. And she grab her and pull her away. And before she could get her to exit the scene, the other girl, who is the real abuser, turned up and jumped on her. And the fat one ran off. You understand? That's what happened. So when I was listening to you in your emotional state, calling the little girl a hug, I shook my head at that point and said, no, V. You can get your point across, but you don't have to resort to calling these kids these names, and then you misread the scenario. And then you start call the girl that was trying to actually rescue the next one. You start calling her out of her name, and it's a child. Let me tell you something. You know why them fighter look so terrible, people? Because it depends on camera. When we are go to school, we see some dreadful fights. But because it wasn't on camera to be replayed, for us to really see how terrible we were behaving, we don't realize how bad it looked. You understand? Now these things are set in stone and tattooed on the internet to be persistently revisited in infinity. And that is a shame that it has to get like that. But it is the reality of a modern society that is ruled by social media and the internet. Right? So when you did say that this is now on the World Wide Web for everybody to see, that is true. But who put it out there, V? It was the dad who put it out there. It was the father who put it up for everybody to see. The parents made that decision on the basis of soliciting help. And in turn, he has tattooed it into the minds of everybody for infinity and beyond. So that was his parental choice. Even when the children themselves were filming it, it never went out until the man put it out himself. So that's something for you to consider, probably in the discussion. I carried on listening to you, and you were talking about parents, that some of the blame has to land on the parents. I'm going to say this to that. I remember you did a live where you said that parents cannot be blamed for some of the choices that children make. And many times, as these children grow up, they will take influence from all about before they act it out. And that parents can mean well, can do all the good things, and these children still go out and make bad choices. And this is the truth. You did subsequently say it in the same live, but you started off by saying that some of the blame has to land on the parents. Now I've seen you come out and argue many times how it is that parents cannot always be blamed. So in this case, I'm going to say it's a 50-50. It's possible that the parents may have something to do with it if it's a violent home and the girl that is doing the abusing is used to seeing people get beat down, and so she get trained for fight, etc., etc. But it could also be the case that the parents have nothing to do with it, would never have agreed to it, would never have trained her to do that, would never have found that behavior acceptable, and she still go off and do what she do. A whole heap of we do things where we parents would have never give a thumbs up to. And I'm certain you are deeply familiar with that. And I don't have to go there for you to know what I mean. You're familiar with it. So when you say things like that, it's like, boy, me no know. As I said, you rake up the ants this. You understand? And I'm sure you know what's going to come at you. You spoke about the fact that we need to teach children conflict resolution, and that is true. But when I listened to how you decided to resolve conflict, the things that you said, the fact that you would go to your school, your son's school, beat the children if you saw them, that to me doesn't sound like conflict resolution that we want going forward. Mind you, you did warn the school and say, move the child out of my sight, because if I do see that child, I'm going to give the child a hiding. But what if you had seen the child? You're saying that you would have done that? Is that how we as parents or adults need to react? Listen, it's different if you put my child in hospital, if you kill my child, But fights do happen as we grow. And it's important that we teach our children how to defend themselves. I don't care what school rules say about not hitting back. You see, once that child is being targeted, that child has to learn self-defense and has to learn to fight for themselves. Not all children have that personality, right? Or have that inclination. But certainly it is important that those children are trained to defend themselves. At one time I lose a fight, and that's because me did a fight before, and the way my family come down upon me and tell me not to fight, me no fight. And that one time I should have did fight. And I felt so angry with myself afterwards for not fighting back, because me no want to get no problem with my family. But before that, me used to fight and me never used to lose. Yeah. Fight boys, especially. Because the moment them try anything with me, I fight. A Pembroke called me go, And the boy them used to text it on the girl them. Yeah. And one try it with me, and believe you me, the whole playground under fire. Because I peer leak. And my mother never trained me to fight. She could not understand where me get that from. You understand? Until by the time me done in a school, everybody decides to leave her alone. Them all a call family conference and have people at church a pray over my head. I said, K won't stop fight. I mean, if I try explain to them the people them a trouble me. So what me for do? And they let me know that I must stop fighting. So I lost the fight once because I bind my own hand. And I regret it to this day that I never fight back because it's not like I can't fight. So children have to go through these experiences. They have to go through these experiences and they have to learn to defend themselves. You understand? So when you said, do you teach your children to be children, to keep their hands to, of course, a lot of parents would teach these things, to keep your hands to yourself, don't trouble nobody, don't interfere with people. But at the end of the day, we also have to teach them how to defend themselves if there are targets and not rely on their parents to fight their battles for them all the time. You understand? So adults coming in to rise up no tall thing like what you say and boss it in vengeance for kids is not the message we want to go out there on the back end of this video. It's not the message we want to preach because that in itself is damaging. When these adults decide to take on kids and fight their battles in ways that can lead to fatality, that's just increase of violence. And that's what we want to stop. I do agree with you that the Ministry of Education needs to do something about the consequences that are offered in school because they're clearly not severe enough. They're not severe enough. That's why children do not think twice before doing these kind of things. If they heard that by fighting they would never be able to sit an exam, they would never be able to complete, to graduate, all of those things, and you actually carry it out, you would be surprised how they would think twice because they're thinking that it's a detention, it's a suspension and go back. It's a taking it too lightly. And the thing is that by allowing low-level misbehavior to go unchecked, those low-level misbehaviors escalate into larger things. So we'd have to really look at the consequence and praise that's offered in school from the bottom up. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in Jamaican schools to make sure that our children don't think that these kind of behaviors are okay. And even here in the UK, where we have those things established, there are one or two deviants that still do crazy things. And when you do look into their lives, you will find that it has a lot to do with how things happened in their household. But they are few and far between. Whereas in Jamaica, those cases are becoming far too frequent. But what we don't want is parents thinking that it's justified to go and haul and pull up no picnic. You understand? It's not justified. It isn't at all. And I am pleased that this prophet is trying to do things the right way, rather than take up vengeance upon him head. You understand? But let's go back to the way you were addressing the kids. The big girl will take up the bag and haul her up, and so as she fuss you on them lock up and stuff like that. You kept referring to this little girl by her body size. And I don't understand why people do that. Me personally, I don't get that. Why is it that people like to refer to people as big, fat, sour, all of that because they may be on the slimmer side or the smaller side? Even in anger, it's the first thing people reach for. And I think that when you are at a certain standard of intellect, when you have gotten to a certain level of understanding in life, you need to be able to handle things without resorting to certain below the belt phrases or attacks. So I'm not going to say I wasn't disappointed that you said that. I am going to say I am disappointed that you said that. Because I would heap of us out here are plus size. So hello? What you mean? Right? If you're referring to her as that, then how do you see us plus size girls? What are you saying? You understand? So we have to be conscious and aware of our words and how we use them and how far the message can reach, even if it's not your intention. It's just how it will ripple across social media, and have an impact you don't necessarily want. You understand? And plus, as I said, that little girl, the one that was drawing her and take up the bag, the fat girl, the chubby girl, these are the words that we used to describe them. She was helping, but I wouldn't call her a hug. And some might even say calling her fat might be offensive. But that's the basic description. She's not thin, right? But if she was helping, I don't think she deserved to be called any names. It may have come across aggressive, and that's the truth. But I think it was just a frustration at the matter. It's like, say, she look upon her and I say, sister, you're in a danger. It looked like a frustrated move. Big up yourself, Guyanese number 2. You understand? It looked like a move of frustration to me, more than anything else. But we can't be looking at kids and calling them the big hug, we can't call them kind of names there. While it is that we are distressed about their behavior, we know their behavior is derogatory, it's awful, and then you're basically calling the little boys gay because you refer to them in a way that was like they're effeminate. You understand? Because they chose not to get involved and they were busy kikiing instead of trying to fight and whatever. And then you said you who call yourself men, they're not men. They're boys. They're kids. So they're not gonna act like men. They're going to act like kids, underdeveloped in the brain. You understand? So they're all going to be busy making stupid mistakes. When fight used to go on a Pembroke, it was like you were at a concert. Every lick, everybody a ball out, boo-ay, boo-ay, every lick. You understand? And that was fun for us as kids. But it wasn't on the internet. We never had any phones coming out to capture these situations. No. So nobody knew when we were fighting. But our parents heard afterwards, but nobody was there to keep replaying it. Them have to take with word feet. You understand? So children do make these mistakes and they do behave terribly. But what I'm saying is that it is getting more extreme and fights are leading to fatalities. They're leading to deaths. They're leading to hospitalization. Which means that they're getting more extreme, yes. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, when I was in school, I saw worse fights than the one that I witnessed in that video. Worse. Never when I was at Immaculate or Arden, 2 schools that I went to, never. But certainly when I was at Pembroke, missed a terrible fight. You understand? And where we used to cut cross and go over to Pembroke Secondary and cut cross the field and go over to the bakery, go buy with patty and with cocoa bread. And them the secondary school picnic, because it was a secondary before it became a high, them used to fight terribly. And we used to watch them fights. We need to realize that our children are in a crisis and we cannot stoop to their level when it comes to setting an example of how to conflict resolve. We have to show them that there are ways that we can handle our anger that does not include lashing out, calling names, calling people out of them names, body shaming people, encouraging violence. And when I listened to your speech, a lot of those things were missed because you were also doing the same thing. You understand? And I know, as I said, I'm separating the professional from the emotional. That was your emotions taking control, right? And then you calm down towards the end, and then you started to balance off your argument, which made it sound like you were contradicting yourself, because you then went on to talk about the fact that, parents, it may not be a fault because sometimes you do the right things and then them go pick up bad company, and then you start to, level off. And I think that's because you got your emotions out of the way. And then you called on a personal scenario as well that showed why you were so passionate about it. And I can understand it. But we do need to be careful how, as social media influencers, we put things out there in the atmosphere, because there are people who lean heavily on our words and will literally go off and do the things we say. You'd be surprised. Literally take the things we say and go off and do it, because I know everybody's strong in the head, right? Okay, some people are looking for mentors, and you'd be surprised how many of our followers latch on to us. You also made a statement that beating a child is allowed in every country. It isn't. Be careful about that misinformation, because if anybody in the UK thinks that them can do that and get away with it, you're going to find yourself on the short end of the law, very quick and fast, separated from your kids, with your kids in care, as quicker than Bolt's track record. You hear? You need to be careful that you don't give the impression that smacking and stuff like that is allowed because it's your child all over the world. I do not know what Antigua's laws are with that. I've heard you make reference multiple times to corporal punishment where kids are concerned. I am not pro corporal punishment. I don't like it. And I can't say that I've been a perfect parent, but as I became a mature parent, that stopped. I used to do the smacking thing, and then I stopped because I realized it's foolishness and it don't work, right? And then I just felt more guilty when I did it. So it was just like, why am I don't need to. And I never even smack. I don't use implements. It was smack on the hand. You understand? And I still felt terrible doing that. Me's not one feet, pick up no belt, kick up no pitney, lick the pitney with no implements. No, clap on the hand. That is all. And I still felt bad. And that was when they were tiny and didn't hear. I may never lick them hot because they never cry once. Them just look at me stunned, like, what was that? You understand? It's just not a part of me. But I grow with beating. Me grow with beating. Me get beaten when me did little. Right? And that was the society and the culture that I grew in. So I don't know if Antigua is the same. I don't know if Jamaica hasn't changed or if it's the same. But I know that in the UK, you better not be doing that and think it's okay. The law is a gray area when it comes to smacking. It is a definitive when it comes to beating. And it is against the law, especially if you mark your child a problem for you. Don't do it. It is the same, Lady V. Justice is slow but sure. You understand? Don't do it. Try not do it, my love. No. You understand? Don't do it at all. Right? So we have to be careful also as influencers and platform holders to make sure that we put information out there that is fact-checked, accurate, especially when it comes to legislation and law. We have to be careful what we say, because we don't want to give our brothers and sisters the impression, especially those who are fresh migrants in a foreign country, that they can just go to a foreign country and beat them picnic. Then we end up in a prison. You don't want to make that your doing by saying that these things are okay anywhere. As I said, I don't know Antigua's laws when it comes to corporal punishment of kids. I don't, right? So you must know if within your jurisdiction it is allowed or facilitated. I can't comment on that. But I can comment certainly from a UK perspective, and I beg, please correct that information. Don't do it over your people. A problem in your life. Right? So, and in Antigua, corporal punishment in schools is limited to the principal only and is actually being worked on to be removed. Many private schools do not have corporal punishment. Well, thank you. Are you Antigua? Justice is slow but sure. Thank you for sharing that information. So yes, we have to have a balanced approach to this situation. It's a terrible situation. I have reached out to the father. I've asked him if he needs my advocacy. I will offer myself for free to help him to communicate with the school, to try to get to the bottom of things before it has to go a legal route. He's actually stated in his opening post that the school is trying to sweep it under the rug and not deal with him. But I suspect that with the heightened visibility of the situation on social media, the school may actually act because of shame. So let us see what happens with this. Shane knows that if he needs me, he can reach out to me, because I will help him to fight this situation and to get the justice that is necessary for his child, and to make sure that the school responds appropriately, right? But what we don't want is parents thinking it's justified to go into a schoolyard, box down, kick down, no picnic, no do it. You understand? Leggy was saying that he would have said he would have care back, he picked him back. Understood. Even that is legal more than the other way around, right? And that sounds like something that my husband would do, to be honest. But I'm a systems girl. I work with systems, right? If my child has not fought on the spot, then yeah, my next step is to escalate, right? So, as I said, we just have to be careful how we say things, what we say, because, yeah, this are gonna rake up some answers, and people are gonna come at you. You know why? I know why. The whole world knows why, right? But I'm not focusing on that part of it. That is for them and theirs. But I'm going to just focus on the information that was said, especially as you saw the post on my page, my name Arite. I need you to understand that it's not my intention to get you that irritated that you would put out that kind of message. It is more about, let us really start to look into how our children do conflict resolution. Let's start to look into how parents can help to influence the choices that children make, but also how schools put into place consequences. After seeing behaviors like this on the escalation, we need to do something about it, Jamaica, because our children cannot be doing this to each other and doing it so heartlessly, and then it's constantly online to keep reminding them about how naughty they've been, how bad they've been for the rest of their lives. We used to do with badness and step away from it and grow and become goody two shoes or perfect souls. Not me, but some people. And we are able to hide what we used to be like. These ones are a permanent tattoo on the internet, and it will never leave their identities. It will never leave their careers. And many times their underdeveloped brain don't realize the long-term effect of these behaviors, right? So it needs to be a case that even in looking at the curriculum, PSHE, I've always spoken about it. We need to teach it. PSHE is about psychological, social, health, and environmental skills. Very necessary for children to learn how to cope with each other, cope with conflict, difficulty, and challenge. It's taught in primary all the way up. Because if we don't do these things, children are not given scenarios and terms and a reason how can I work this through without lifting a fist. They don't get the chance to reflect, be guided, and evolve through school. And parents hardly have time. Them busy, I catch them ass. I try make ends meet and pay bills. And it's like, as much as we would love for them to be responsible enough to do that, school have to go try to do it as much as them can. How we can't promise that. You understand? It's what systems we have in place, because if education does it, then these children will grow into adults who will have the same principles, and the cycle will continue. You understand? Big up yourself, Mr. Brown. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from, V. And Gary just still say why the black screen. No, them not understand. Sometimes I do black screen, sometimes I don't. But yeah, me know say the tag like I make a whole heap of people run out and say, "Hey, war go on." No, there's no war. Sometimes we can have discussions where we agree to disagree, or whatever, and it doesn't have to result in dipping up under people. I know a lot of you people out there don't understand that method, but some of you do need to learn it. We can have discussions as platform holders where we don't have to agree with everything that we say, to each other,
but it can be done respectfully. And that is my intention. We can just talk about this, right? Okay. Hope you have understood where I'm coming from. Big up on the nice clean self. Like up the live on your way out, right? And V, I hope you did in a class. If not, catch your ears later. Listen. Later, people. Have a good night. Bye bye.